Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna. So thank you everyone. It's a wonderful festival and we are all here. I would first of all like to ask for the blessings of all the senior Vaishnavas here, if they could please bless me so that I can speak something worthy as per Srila Prabhupada's understanding, the worshipping of Govardhan Hill. So today is also a very wonderful another celebration. It is Gopashtami. It is a time when Krishna and Balaram were given the responsibility of the cows. After they turned about 5 or 6 years, then they were actually given this responsibility. And you will see that on this particular day, in many temples, in our ISKCON temples, we have Radharani is dressed almost like a cowhead boy, and her feet are showing. She also likes to joining with Krishna because now he is going to, with the cowhead boys, how is she going to get in her special time with Krishna? So this is one of the ways. That's one understanding. So, I think we all owe it to Srila Prabhupada. Govardhan Hill, the glories of Govardhan Hill are now all over the world. If it was not for Prabhupada, then a few people here and there somewhere may have known about Govardhan Hill. But the only reason why we are sitting glorifying Govardhan Hill is because Srila Prabhupada spread his glories and the glories of Vrindavan throughout the world. Krishna devotee has very strong and firm faith in the understanding that if he is simply engaged in Krishna's service, in Krishna consciousness, loving service, then there is nothing else that he needs to do. That is like the goal of his life, already achieved. That means actually he is not obligated to anyone else. We have this very famous verse, Devarishi Bhutapta Nrinam Pitrinam Nakinkaro Nayam Rinicha Rajan Sarvatmana Ya Sharanam Sharanyam Gato Mukundam Pariritya Kartum. Deva Rishi, that means Devatas, the Rishis. Bhutapta means all the living entities. Rishinam, Devarishi Bhutapta Nunam, that means all the human beings. Pitrinam, all the forefathers. We are indebted to so many people because we receive from them so many services, or because of them our existence in this human body and the chance to become Krishna consciousness has been given to us. So we are actually obligated to them. Some of them are supplying us material things, and some of them are the source of our spiritual inspiration. So we are actually indebted to all of them. But a Krishna devotee does not need to perform any ritualistic functions enjoined in the Vedas, nor is he required to worship any demigods. Very, very strong, profound statement, which is of course in pursuance to the statement of Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita. Therefore, this particular pastime of Krishna and Govardhan Hill and how Govardhan Hill came to be worshipped, there are a number of lessons that Krishna wanted to give to the world. That if someone is trying to become a pure devotee of the Lord, then he should understand that he is not obligated to anyone else after he takes up this process. There is no need to worship anyone else separately. For his pure devotees, he wanted to firmly establish exclusive devotional service during his presence in Vrindavan. So much so that the residents of Vrindavan, which are his very close devotees, he did not like that they start worshipping anyone else. And Krishna is very selfish. Even the Bible says that our Lord, he is actually a jealous God, it says. He's very jealous. Doesn't like anyone. And then a whole heap of misconceptions come from this because, for that reason they think that when you're worshipping the deity, that you're worshipping someone other than God, than as if they are God. So there is a lot of confusion created by that, but that's not really the case if they understand things properly. Now, one of the qualities of Krishna, he himself says that he is omniscient. Vedaham samatitani vartamanani cha Arjuna bhavishyani cha bhutani mam tu vedana kaschana. I know all past, present and future. And Arjun, you know all your, only one birth. But I know all the births I have so far taken. And how many births have Krishna taken? Every one day of Brahma, Krishna comes once. In one kalpa, he comes once. So Krishna has come many times, but he does not forget any one of the things. In fact, that is one of the signs of, or the symptoms of a God, that he never forgets anything. He remembers past, present and future in toto, whatever, for eternity. We can't even imagine that with our own teeny experience. So, although Krishna knows what is happening, he sees that Nanda Maharaj and other cowhead boys are actually arranging some sacrifice. He already knows it. He already also knows who they are arranging it for. But just out of etiquette as a small child, he comes to his father Nanda and he says, he asks some questions. Now, he asks questions which we are supposed to be asking. Actually, anyone who, suppose we see someone performing a ceremony, what are the common questions that we would ask them? Why you are performing this ceremony? What else do you ask them? What? Benefits. What is the result of this, performing this ceremony? What else do you ask them?
Who are you worshiping?
Huh?
Who are you worshiping? Who do you worship?
Who do you worshiping? Okay, yes. What else?
How? Why are you worshiping?
How do you worship? How are you going to perform this ceremony? And the main thing is, what is the purpose of this whole thing? So Krishna is asking 4 questions to Nanda Maharaj. He's saying, what is this arrangement going on? Seems like a sacrifice. Then he says, what is the result of such a sacrifice? And for whom is it meant? So you answered actually all of them. Then he says, how is it performed and what is the procedure? And then the last one was, what is the purpose of the whole thing? Is it just the result or something else? Generally, people think when it comes to the result, that's where it ends. But it doesn't necessarily mean that. So, Nanda Maharaj, what did he do? How old was Krishna? Anybody remembers? At this time? 5, 7 years? 7 years actually. So, a little boy, 7 years old, is asking questions, fatafat. That means one after another. And you know how children are? Now, those who are parents, those who have a little bit grown-up children, how when the children start asking questions, they become tired of answering the questions. Is it true? Am I right? Yes. They become tired of the children asking questions. Oh, that looks like we have an experienced person here. So, because Krishna is looking like such a small child and Nanda Maharaj is seeing so many questions, so he just ignored him. Didn't answer the question. So now Krishna gets heavier. You know, when you ignore. So when Krishna starts becoming heavier, then what are his... so he says, my dear father, for those who are very liberal, very saintly, there is no secrecy. You don't do everything behind someone's back. For those who are liberal, actually no secret should be kept, right? But also, especially from someone who is your family member. Why are you hiding from him? And from me, I am your son. You are hiding, you are not telling me. I have asked so many questions. You are not telling me. So, if you want to keep some secret, then you should be keeping the secret from some enemies, probably. You have a reason. But what reason do you have keeping secrets from me? Now, after saying this, Krishna says something else. And this is also, he is indicating to us by his questions or his statements actually how we should be inquiring and under what circumstances we should be doing what. So he is saying, some people when they perform such ceremonies, this is before even Nanda Maharaj said anything. Some people before they perform any ceremonies which are for getting some results, they know what the results are. And some execute these functions and traditions without knowing the purpose or the result. No understanding of purpose or result. Or it just has to be a ceremony, so it has to be done. Yeah, what do you call that such persons? Huh? You call them ignorant? What else do you call them? Superstitious? Not necessarily. There is one specific word Prabhupada uses. You actually, it's called blind following, without understanding, without philosophical understanding. Now Krishna comes to the crux of it. He says, any person who acts with full knowledge gets the full result. And someone who doesn't act without any knowledge while acting, they do not get such a perfect result. So, if we want proper result from what we are doing, we should understand why we are doing it, what is its purpose, everything, all these elements has to be understood. Right? So, therefore, please let me know, O Nanda Baba, the purpose of the sacrifice you are performing. And then the last important thing he asks, which we should be also asking, is it according to Vedic injunction? Is it some man-made tradition, or is it according to Vedic injunction? Is it simply a popular ceremony? I remember many years ago, I heard this story. So I think I'll tell this story about tradition and with no understanding. There were a couple who were getting their daughter married. And during the marriage, there was a cat which came and it was just going around, disturbing everything. So the mother decided that this cat is bothering us during the ceremony. She picked up the cat and there was an empty basket with a lid on it. So she actually put the cat inside the basket. So many years gone past. Now the daughter is married, went to her in-laws. She got married, she got children. Her children were about to get married. And she said, hey, we are forgetting one thing that should be done. What is that? I remember during my marriage, my mother had the tradition of putting a cat in the basket. We should not forget it. Now see how you don't know the purpose behind why it was done, but you are doing it. And it just then, from then on, it becomes a tradition. Nobody questions it. That's the rivaj. That's the tradition. It has to be done this way. So this is not what Krishna wants us to do. Krishna is saying, is this thing that you are doing, is it according to Vedic tradition? And especially for those who are not very much familiar, we see something else. We see that often times people do not understand and they do something. Jai Shri Shri Jagannath Baladev Subhadra ki jai. Shri Shri Gaur Nitai ki jai. Someone can tell me how long do I have to actually, up till what time?
That'll be perfect. 10 before.
Oh my goodness, I hardly started. All right. I got 10 minutes to summarize Govardhan Puja. How am I going to do that? All right. I'll make an attempt, but I can't be sure I can finish that much time. So, of course, then Nanda Maharaj starts speaking. And he is saying to Krishna that, look, my dear boy, this is a traditional ceremony that we are performing. We are getting rainfall. It is due to the mercy of King Indra, because he is kindly sending us clouds. He is pouring down this rain in sufficient quantity for our agricultural activities and for our cows. And without rain, we cannot even perform our religious duties. Without water, we cannot even bathe. We can't do these things. So therefore, we are obligated to King Indra. And therefore, once in a while or whatever, we are actually performing this ceremony. Nanda Maharaj also said that we should not, out of fear, out of lust or greed, give up these traditional ceremonies. If we do, it will not look very good upon us. So, what did Krishna do? Krishna, in the presence of all the elders of the whole community, in front of his father, who was the king, he insulted a person purposely. He insulted Indra purposely in front of people. What happens if you insult someone in front of people? I mean, sometimes you may want to say something. Okay, you put them aside, get a person aside and tell him on his own, right? That way you're not. But Krishna would know that kind of technique very much. But this time, what he did, he wanted Indra to be completely put down in front of everybody. He was so actually not very much happy with Indra. Why? It is described that Indra had become very, very proud of his position. Krishna does not tolerate pride even in his closest devotees who are gopis. Why would he tolerate it from a demigod? So, Krishna decided that I am going to, in front of everybody, prove it that we don't need you, oh Indra. So Krishna started his arguments. First of all, now these are very, very excellent arguments. I recommend very strongly that everyone read this chapter in the Krishna book or even the Bhagavatam, which is the chapter on worshipping Govardhan hill, because it is a very educational episode. It teaches us a lot of lessons. And there, first he says, Krishna says, we should not do this yagna. First thing. And then he starts telling the reasons, many reasons why you should not do it. First he says, no need for worshipping any demigod for any material advancement, because all the results that are derived by worshipping the demigods are temporary. There is no permanent benefit. The demigod cannot give you any permanent benefit, only temporary. Second thing is that one who worships the Supreme Lord and at the same time worships demigods, it says that, Prabhupada also said, and it's also stated in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, that one who worships the Supreme Lord at the same time and at the same time desires material enjoyment, therefore worships demigods, is contradictory in his desires. He is contradicting his own desires. Then he says, whatever temporary results one derives from worshipping the demigods is actually given by the Supreme Lord himself, not the demigods. The demigod is like a teller in the bank. What do they do? The money does not belong to the teller. And the teller gives out according to how much they have deposited previously. Right? Any withdrawals. So what does this mean? This actually means that demigods are obliged to give us results according to our karma. Why are you worshipping? That's their duty. Why are you worshipping the demigods? It's their duty to give us. If Indra is given that position to give this rainfall, if we perform our karma properly, he must give us the results. Why do we have to worship him for that? Krishna, a very strong argument. Now this is an argument which was an argument given by Jaimini, Karma Mimamsa philosophy, where karma is pradhan, karma is the highest, they say. That you should perform your karma. And then they actually give so much stress to karma that they forget that Krishna is beyond karma. They think if you do karma, Krishna is bound to give us results for the karma if we do the karma. The answer is no. Krishna is not bound by anything, not by your karma. Even if you perform karma, if he does not want to give you the results, it's up to him. He will not give. He is totally independent. You can't force him by your karma to become favorable to you and then give you what you want. No, that is not how Krishna works. So, Mayaiva vihitan hitan, that actually whatever Krishna says in the Gita, whatever the demigods give, that is given by me, but through their agency only. Then sometimes, these demigods, because they are in charge, just like, if a bank teller becomes a little bit proud and starts thinking this is my money, immediately they will run into trouble. So when Indra became proud, Krishna became immediately wanting to rectify. Now, normally what Krishna does is when he comes, he kills people who are proud, arrogant, all of those things. Why didn't he kill Indra? If you look at Bhagavad Gita in the 16th chapter, is it? Which chapter it is? The divine and demoniac nature. Is the 16th chapter? So there, the divine natures and demoniac natures are mentioned. So Indra was exhibiting at that time demoniac nature. Why didn't Krishna kill him? Give him a chance. Why? Every other demon, Krishna killed. Why not him? He was a devata, okay, but then he is exhibiting the quality of a demon. The reason is that the reason given here is that the Krishna knows that Indra is actually a devotee. So a devotee can also get sometimes covered up by these demonic qualities. In such cases, Krishna is more compassionate and does not kill them, but gives them a lesson, chastises them. Huh? So some who are outright demons, Krishna will kill, but some he will chastise. And that's what he decided to do in this case by stopping Indra Puja. So when he did that, actually Krishna, when he was speaking to his father, he gave many arguments. And some of the arguments I want to quickly say because I don't have much time. My dear father, I don't think you need to worship any demigod for the successful performance of your agricultural activities. Number one. Number two, he said, every living being is born according to his past karma and leaves this life simply taking the result of his present karma. So everyone is born in different types of species of life according to his past activities. He gets his next birth according to the activities of this life. So different grades of material happiness and distress, comforts and disadvantages of life are different results of different kinds of activities from either past or present life. Basically karma. So Nanda and other elder members said a very important point. Said no, only by performing karma you don't get the results. The ultimate thing is there has to be, you have to satisfy the Supreme Lord. Because sometimes, no matter how well a physician treats a patient, the patient dies. The karma performed was correct, but the patient still died. Huh? Isn't it? And sometimes a father and mother taking care of a child to make him a good person made all the efforts from their part properly, but the son becomes really bad. Or the daughter becomes bad. What do? The karma was perfect, but the result was completely contradictory. So therefore, material causes are not sufficient for getting results. By doing your karma, that you will get that result for sure is not actually a guarantee. There must be the sanction of the Supreme Lord, and Nanda Maharaj and all the cowhead men assembled there, then tried to tell Krishna that, look, in order to get good results, they must satisfy the deity of the rain because of that reason. Now, how did Krishna argue that one? Krishna even destroyed that argument. Krishna said, the demigods will give results to the persons only if they execute their duties properly. So ultimately he came back to the duties. He said, you will have to do the duties properly, then they will give the results. Otherwise, the demigods also not obliged to give any results. So in this way, many arguments he gave, he actually convinced everybody that, in the end, when he was so convinced, so convincing, then Nanda Maharaj said, look, Krishna, since you are requesting so much, I will, what should we do if you don't do this? He said, better to worship, we are Vaishyas, better to worship Govardhan Hill, do our duties properly, look after the cows. If we do those things, worship the Brahmanas, the cows, if we do these things, this will be very nice for us. And we are a Vaishya community, so we should do that. Let's forget about Indra. So Nanda Maharaj said, no, not so harsh. I will arrange, if you so much are requesting that I do that, I'll arrange another sacrifice, but meanwhile, let me do this. And Krishna said, no, all the arrangements are already made. It will waste a lot of time to collect these ingredients again. The very same ingredients that you have collected for Indra, I want those same ingredients, everything to be used, not for Indra, but for... So Krishna really insisted very, very strongly like that. And then Nanda Maharaj and others relented. And then they went and they asked Krishna, okay, for the first time you are telling us we should be worshipping Govardhan Hill. How do you want us to worship him? So Krishna gave his prescription how to worship Govardhan Hill. He said, first of all the ingredients that you have collected for the yagna, get all those ingredients together and make very nice preparations. Halwa, puri, kachoris, you name it, there's so many items mentioned in the Krishna book and also in Bhagavatam, that, enormous items. Make those nice preparations, eatable preparations. Then later on you feed the cows. After the cows are fed, then you let the cows go in the front, then let the brahmanas follow by chanting mantras, and then the rest will follow. The brahmanas will also chant mantras for performing the yagna, and then we will all go around the Govardhan hill and do a parikrama, and then it will be the Govardhan Puja. Now, I will end within 2 minutes by concluding what is the conclusion of this whole thing. Because I don't have time to go on. There's a lot of nice juicy things, but unfortunately we can't. Krishna shows rather that if we want success in life, we have to surrender to him, not to anyone else. Primary thing he wanted to show. At the same time, he wanted to teach Indra a lesson. Now, when they started worshipping Govardhan hill, Krishna took the form of Govardhan hill, a huge form. This Krishna was standing here at Govardhan hill with everybody, but there was another Krishna in a huge form on top of the hill, and then he started eating all the preparations that were offered to the hill. Now, this is called Annakuta ceremony. Annakuta means you offer very nice foodstuffs to Govardhan. And Govardhan in the form of Krishna actually accepts it. And this Annakuta happened also 500 years ago, not just 5,000 years ago. 500 years ago, a little bit more than that, Madhavendra Puri came to Vrindavan and he got a dream. That is Lord Chaitanya's grand guru. He got a dream that actually Krishna came to him in a dream and he said, I am actually hiding in the bushes here because the pujaris, out of fear of the Muslims, left me here buried under the ground, and I am feeling very hot, very inconvenienced for so much long time. Please, you make arrangements so that I can be taken out of here, take me to the top of Govardhan hill, establish me there, and then bathe me with lots and lots of cooling water, and give me a lot of food to eat because I haven't eaten for a long time. Wow. So, when his dream broke, Madhavendra Puri went to the villages in Vrindavan and said, you come with me with your axes and knives and everything to clear the bushes. I am taking you somewhere Krishna has given direction. So they all were very curious. They took all these instruments for clearing the bushes and they went, and Madhavendra Puri could very clearly remember by Krishna's grace exactly where to go to find the deity. And he found the deity in the bushes, this Gopal. And he had one hand on his hip and the other one like that. And that deity was established on top of Govardhan hill, bathed, and we know the story, those of you who knows the story of Madhavendra Puri. And today, where is that deity? It's not on top of Govardhan hill. That deity today is in Nathadwar. Srinathji. Have you heard of Srinathji? That is the deity which was actually found by Madhavendra Puri. Am I right, Prabhu? That is the thing. So that has been established somehow by, I think, the Rajput kings later on established the deity when the further oppression was there, and they actually brought that deity from there and put it with in Rajasthan. So they also he offered so much annakuta, so much prasadam for almost a month. Different villages used to bring so much bhoga and offer to Krishna in the form of Giriraj or Srinathji, and in this way they celebrated. And the main last point that Krishna taught is, if you listen to what I am saying, Krishna says, if you have faith in me, if you surrender to my words and follow it, then even if a demigod becomes angry like Indra, I know how to deal with it. Don't worry about it. So many people, they think, oh, it's like I've been to preaching in villages where people are actually used to worshiping demigods, and you all of a sudden tell them that actually you should be worshiping Krishna. Very hard to tell them that because they've been worshiping the deity for so long. So you don't really normally directly tell them that. But you could tell them something like that if you surrender to Krishna, Krishna protects, and you can tell this example. And then there is no need actually to divert our attention so many different directions. Like Krishna saying, what is that? That shloka in Bhagavad Gita where he says that avyabhicharina bhakti yogena sevate, that he wants us to perform avyabhichari bhakti which is not diverted in attention or distracted by other worships. So that exclusive devotion, when it is there, then you get full protection. And if you have partial surrender, then you get partial protection. You definitely, Krishna, ye thamam prapadyante tam stateva bhajamyaham. Depending on the degree you surrender, that much degree Krishna will protect you. So today we are very fortunate, we are able to see the Abhishek of Govardhan. Today also in in Brajadham, we see that people never take a Govardhan Shila from Govardhan. Many people go to Govardhan and they immediately want to take a Shila. It is actually very much forbidden. You can't do that. And if you want to do that, then you have to leave that much amount of gold at Govardhan. That is the procedure. And not only that, you still cannot take it, even if you have the gold. A Vrajabasi there, a resident has to give you. Just like last year I went to Govardhan and I thought, okay, I'm not going to take a Govardhan Shila with me, but I'm on Govardhan Parikrama path in the Dhool, there was a lot of, what do you call that, dust. So I thought, let me take this Vrajaraj. Excellent. Let me take this Vrajaraj, and I did not take it. I went to a Brajavasi who was there, and he looked at me, he understood. He said, you want to take the Raj, right? I said, yes. So he told me, I can give you some Raj, but do you know, you're not allowed to take a single stone, including little stones which might be in the Raj. You cannot take. So I said, what do I do then? Because there might be some little stones in the Rajaraj. What do I do? So he said, you should take a fine cloth and sieve it through that and make sure only the dust comes, and whatever rocks you find which are coming out from the sieve, you leave them at Govardhan. This was told to me by a Brajavasi the very last time I left. I went to Vrindavan last year. So very careful not to do that. And once you, of course, you get the blessings, then you can bring one. And my Guru Maharaj was telling me once, His Holiness Tamal Krishna Goswami, that he once took a big Shila of Govardhan for installing in the Houston temple. And that huge Shila, he said, I had to give so much money at Govardhan in order to get that Shila. How? Because we acquired a property at Govardhan as a Govardhan ashram, and that was belonging previously to some king. It was in dilapidated condition, and to renovate that and bring it to the state that it was today, he said, I gave a fortune for that place. So he said, actually, I have left all the gold there. My gold is still there at Govardhan. But you're actually not supposed to be taking. Some people also come to Govardhan. They make little houses near Govardhan. But by taking the Shilas and putting them in the form of like building brick by brick a house for themselves, so that in the next life, may they reside next to Govardhan Hill and serve Govardhan Hill in some form or other. The last thing is that Govardhan Shila is to be worshipped non-different than Krishna, the deity form. That this is one personality who has a dual identity. Govardhan is the Haridas Varya, the best servant of Krishna. At the same time, he is Krishna himself. Not different. So we should worship him as a devotee as well as a form of Krishna as well. Hare Krishna. Jai Shri Giriraj Govardhan ki Jai. Nidai Gaur Premanandi Hari Hari Bol. Thank you very much.
Nanda Kishor Prabhu ki.
Srila Prabhupada ki Jai.